citizens of this county what they deserve and this county.
Jamie, you wanna stay right there?
I can.
Well, I know it's been a long meeting, but we need to address the radio solution problem.
So where we're at on the, and we were in the process of preparing all this when it all got derailed, but we still need to push it forward enough. So where we're at with ARPA funding, and Jason can correct me if I'm wrong, we have, if it comes out of this committee, it's gonna have to be allocated in this meeting, because it's got a deadline that will be already passed by the next meeting.
Yes.
So, what we have done on this so we have to view this next phase as, the next phase and not just fire radios, because there's a lot that has to change. We've already allocated 180,000 to frequencies. We have not been able to address that in my office for the last 3 or 4 months. We've still got Motorola online, that actually looks like that's gonna come out better than what it was initially for us. That's still not set in stone, that's still not the contract, but right now that's how it looks like that's gonna go. I passed this up in the beginning because I wasn't looking at the agenda. Let's back up just a minute. I've met with TAC and engineers, going back to the state radio system, I've met with TAC and engineers that their job is to study sites for this county. It looks like this county's going to end up in multiple state radio system sites, but that is 5 to 10 years out as far as the build out. So I just wanted to give that quick update of where the state radio system is on being built out. And like I said, I think there's gonna be grant opportunities and stuff come down the pipe that will help us out to get to that in time. But timelines, we wish the timeline was different than what it was to not even have to go this direction, but it's not. I sent out to the departments the information that y'all gave me last time about the cache of radios, not a radio for every member, the same, the exact spec that you all sent me to send out. The top sheet is an overview of what I had sent back. The next sheet is the supporting documentation for each of those is what they sent. Somewhat different directions on that, and you can see that in the spreadsheet. I don't feel like we have enough in front of us to decide exactly how many radios we're doing today, but that gives you an overall picture of where that's at this point. Should give you an idea if you wanna do a cutoff. I recommend a base station in every single station is the one recommendation I have, and the reason for that is we use those for field command posts and stuff when we're in those communities. Those are a little bit of extra cost, but it gives us a resource out there in all these communities if we need to use a fire hall or something like that. There's communication in all of those, and it helps them out on their daily operation. Beyond that, it gives you an idea of what you want to decide for each mobiles and portables for each department. Churchill Rescue has asked for the 20 that I've not got listed on here, but you have the supporting reason for that. You know, what I was writing over there when you was talking.
Yes.
Okay. So that's where we're at with this right now. I don't know if this figure for what's on this paper and then what we'll need on the mountaintops, EMA and 911, this will surpass, I think, the amount of ARPA funding that was left. I don't know if the recommendation wants to be to allocate what ARPA money is left, or I'll answer any questions that you may have. This is going to be, as far as the number of mobiles and portables, is going to be left up to whatever the funding is, because it's going to be different for every department. So I don't know if we want to set a cap on that, what we want to do city, county department wise, stuff of that nature.
Do we have a number, what this is, how much it costs for what you presented to us?
So it'll take, I'm estimating between 60 and 80,000 for what we're gonna need, mountaintop wise, 911 wise, and EMA wise. Just a rough figure. Maybe less than that, but that's just giving you a rough figure. I calculated this, just doing some rough estimates, so I know what this stuff will cost. It's more expensive to put radios in fire trucks because their interior is harder to work around, that sort of thing. Just on this page, I think it's a little over 400,000, just in this page, and like I said, that was rough estimates.
You said roughly 400,000?
Yeah, just on this paper. So if you add the other 60 to 80 on it, we're approaching, I think the initial request was like 520 or something, so we're still probably in that neighborhood.
You said 60 to 80 for EMA, mountaintop, and
Yeah, correct.
what
Yeah.
else was included in that?
EMA, 911 and the mountaintops, all that infrastructure that has to be changed to meet this.
Director Miller, on this, host and ordnance, army ammunition, those three, who gets those and where are they at?
So those three are in, Holston just reached out to me, they're on our email list, they reached out to me, they said, hey, we obviously need to be able to communicate with you. They asked if I could add that to the list, just so they would have a communication route. Those would be placed in their engines if we choose not to fund that through the county. They may purchase those themselves, but that would be in their 3 apparatus that they run in there all the time. Because DMS does all the medical in there now, nothing as far as EMS. So they'd be able to communicate with our EMS and their fire service that would be coming to that facility for responses with those radios.
So what actually we're looking for today in regards of just making a recommendation to commit the funds, and then we'll sort it out like what the actual price point or how many were. Cause I mean, I think are we looking at any type of cap on the portables? Because the amount of portables that can vary from personnel as they go up and down, can it?
Yeah, you look, if you look through here, every department did a little bit different too, so if, I'd be looking, you all are in these communities and know the needs and stuff as much as I do, so if there wants to be a cap set, I'm open to whatever guidance you have that direction.
Well, I mean, when we allocated the turnout gear, each department was allocated so many, we may need to look at doing that with the radios, just to keep the cost down,
Yeah,
where
some of those-
we can manage it.
Did each fire department submit these names?
Correct. Each
One.
I have an
Each agency.
Correct.
Okay.
I have an email list that goes out to all those departments, and their leadership was aware of it to have that. No, some of it wasn't the chief that returned this information, but it was someone the chief had instructed to turn in this information, and some was from the chief.
Jamie, do you know how much it costs for each portable?
Not exactly. I did a rough estimate of those at like 1,300, base stations at about 2,500 roughly, and then mobiles. It's gonna depend on the need a whole lot there, but say 1,700 or something. And I've not calculated that out to see what it becomes, just cause we ain't had time to.
So you said 1,300 for the portables,
Yeah,
roughly?
that's turnkey ready to come out of the box to go on a firefighter's hand.
So you're looking at 419,000 just for portables, 323 portables.
And the mobiles, how much, Jim?
Total estimate here is just probably 1,700, cause this stuff's changing month to
I
month.
understand.
And then the base station's probably about 2,500. The base stations are very hard to estimate because everybody has a different need too. Their cable has to be a different length. And sometimes we just rough that out and show the coaxial cable.
That's what I thought too.
We can get this down to an exact figure once we've got some guidance on exactly what we're wanting to do here, but we're gonna have to either have another meeting or we're gonna have to, decide broadly how we allocate that money. Is there any way to change that allocation, Jason, once we go past December 31st?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the way that the federal guidelines are written, it has to be expended, well, no, it has to be allocated, not expended, it has to be allocated by that rate.
We literally were printing these off at 2:30 today, so that's one of the figures, not figured into this, but.
I think what we need to ask each of these fire departments, I mean, well, we can't really ask it because we're up against the deadline now. I think what this committee needs to keep in mind, I'm gonna be completely honest here, not every fire department has 100% active members. I don't, as much as I would like to grant the request for all the portables, we just don't have the funding to do it, if we're gonna use ARPA. I think we need to, put a cap on how many portables we can give out. I do agree that I think the bases need one, and I think our units need one. I think we're gonna have to cut portables, and the fire department's gonna have to do their due diligence and make sure the most active members are gonna have the portables.
Another thing we have to think about long-term planning with this is, I know these mobiles aren't exactly right either, because these departments were donating those cruisers and stuff, and I think only one department had that listed. So, they're still gonna, those vehicles are not on these mobile lists either. We're gonna have that continuously coming up as departments get vehicles too, on how we long-term make a solution for this. Which would have to be done through regular budget, but I just wanted to bring that up now that a lot of your radio problems in the field, and the guys in here that do communication can tell you this. If you've got a radio in the vehicle that's perfect, a coax cable's perfect, an antenna's perfect, if the $5 connector's bad, it won't work. So that's what you get into with all this. So long term, we have to figure out a way that we maintain this stuff as well. Especially the radios in the units.
I mean, the worst thing you can do is send it on to the budget committee, and that gives us a little bit of time. You can send it on as is, and it buys us a little bit of time to figure out some more of those numbers and so on, so that when we meet on Monday, we can nail it down more clearly. And you're not married into it if you send it to the budget committee now.
You wanna make that in a motion?
I would.
Motion made by Commissioner Roach to send the request as presented on to the budget committee strictly for funding purpose. Second by Commissioner Gibson. Any further discussion on this?
Does that include the 20 that Churchill requested for rescue squad?
Do what now?
Is that gonna include the 20 that Churchill Rescue's requesting? It's not on that, we didn't receive the email ahead of time for
I
that.
don't think it does. Only
It wouldn't, I mean, what would it, what are you looking at? How, you said 20 units, is that 20
That's 20 portables.
portables?
Yes, sir.
Would the, committee be okay with just making a friendly amendment to add those 20 portables into that 323 number?
I wrote it down, so I'll actually assume that it did, so yeah, I'll be fine with that.
Is everybody okay with that?
Could he just present it Monday then?
Yes. So I mean, if it's okay with you all, without making a formal amendment, we'll just add that 20 units.
Are most of your members, I'm just curious now, are most of your members also members of the fire department?
So it's kinda like a bunch of your situation, if we've got a member that's in separate departments, we take that into consideration when we're issuing those out, that way you don't have two radios go to the same person. Obviously, they don't need to.
I can amend this for Monday if we need to add that to the spreadsheet, guys.
So we can, I mean, I don't have a problem adding it for consideration.
Yeah.
Just making sure it may not stand come Monday in the budget.
Yes,
So. Are you fine with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Jason, you fine with this?
Yes.
Alright, any further discussion regarding the radios? Seeing none, Ms. Davis, will you call roll?
Jason Roach,
Yes.
Tom Kearns.
Yes.
John Gibson.
Yes.
Larry Clark,
Yes.
Robbie Palmer.
Yes.
Danny Ellis.
Yes.
Chad Britton.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carries.
Alright.
Just to make sure I understand this correctly, this we're going to budget as is to figure out the allocation part of it, and then we'll come back to this committee and set a cap of it. We're gonna set the cap.
Calculation purpose, I think.
It's just for calculation purpose, so, well, I mean, really, it could, if we need to work on it some more, we could do it in November, but we're getting pretty close to the deadline.
So let's make a decision if we fund exactly this number or if we cap.
Right, 'cause we can always show the total, that we find in the budget.
We can do that in
committee.
budget committee.
Okay.
We can make it, all we're
Okay.
doing is sending this as a recommendation.
Recommendation to use that money for radios, and then we'll sort
Okay.
out the
Okay, I want to make sure what committee we're gonna figure that